Hello, hi, and welcome to this video. My name is Carter Freeman, and I am an amateur music reviewer, talker, writer, and I am in the process of making videos about my favorite and least favorite music of the 2020s so far. Yesterday, I covered the worst 20 songs of the decade, so that means today it's time to get to the worst 20 albums. 20 albums that just sucked top to bottom. They're all just terrible. They're on this list for a reason. Let's not waste too much time. Let's get right into it. I'm going to speed through the first 10, not spend too much time on them, because the top 10, or the bottom 10, I guess, are the ones that really deserve more of the talking time. So here we go. Coming in at number 20, that is the obnoxiously titled Broken by Desire to be Heavenly Sent by Lewis Capaldi. The title kind of tells you everything that you're in for. It's way too melodramatic. It's way over the top. It's oversung to hell and back. Capaldi's voice is just not good enough to carry any of the emotion or weight if the songs actually had any, so I wouldn't spend much time on this one. Then next at 19, it's Maroon 5 with Geordie, a album that really adopts a pop trap pop sound that does not fit what I know of this band at all. Sure, it was what was popular at the time back in 2021, but that doesn't mean you just have to mindlessly ape off of whatever the popular style is. And Adam Levine in his mid-40s continues to sing like he's in his early 20s, and it's just kind of gross. 18, you knew these guys were going to pop up. How about Imagine Dragons with Loom? The constant knock on Imagine Dragons is that all of their songs sound exactly the same, and they pretty much live up to the bill here. It's 9 overblown electropop bangers with a remix of one of the songs with J Balvin thrown on top of it. I don't know who was asking for a reggaeton collaboration with Imagine Dragons, but it wasn't me. Then coming in at 17, it's my favorite trio of adult man children. That's AJR with The Maybe Man, their 2023 record. The older they get, the worse their juvenile and immature look at life gets. All the Disney-fied, overblown, busy-ass instrumentals are just a mess to listen to. They're not mixed well. They don't sound good. The melodies are just lazy. And the vocals are really for babies, too. It's not for somebody like my age, who I guess they're trying to appeal to. None of it really works, but unfortunately, this is not the last time you will see AJR on this list. At 16, we've got Tones and I with Welcome to the Madhouse, an album that is just a showcase for how bad of a singer Tones and I is. It doesn't have Dance Monkey on it, so it's got that going for it. That's still her worst song, but kind of like some of the previous albums, it's just overblown, it's over the top, it's loud for no real reason. Maybe the reason is to disguise the fact that the melodies are just really boilerplate, cut and paste from other better artists. She flip-flops between party tracks and mental health tracks, and it just never creates like a really good flow. Yeah, skip this one. Don't enter this madhouse. It is not worth it. Then at 15, another artist who you will see again on this list, but right here it's MGK and his best bud Trippie Redd with the Genre Sad Boy EP. There's a bit more of like an emo rap lean here, with Trippie Redd contributing a lot of vocals to this project, but it's a lot more of the really, really bad, awful pop punk that Machine Gun Kelly has shifted to early in this decade. It's like they heard the sounds and they really liked them, but they didn't care about any of the meaning beneath any of it. They just used emo rap and pop punk as a mask to make just really bastardized versions of the genre. Even the title of the EP, Genre Sad Boy, is like just this facade that just doesn't mean anything. It's bad, it's stupid, it's dumb. Don't listen to it. Then at 14, we've got Greta Van Fleet with the Battle of Garden's Gate. Lot of ripping off of Led Zeppelin. Lot of ripping off of Rush. You know, that was a new wrinkle for Greta Van Fleet on this one. They say imitation is the greatest form of flattery, but it just does not hold a candle to the original artists. It's quite literally copy-paste the exact way that Robert Plant sings or Geddy Lee sings over instrumentals that emulate great Led Zeppelin songs, but do not have near the heart and soul of them. Then at 13, it's a album that's really disappointing because I loved what this band did early to start their career, some of their early singles, but once they started making albums, things started going downhill. That's Blackpink with their 2020 project, The Album. It's like, that's all it is. It is an album. There are 8 songs on it. They are songs, and that's all you get. None of the fun or the big raucous energy of like a do is here. The producers just went really safe with what they wanted Blackpink to do. A lot of like pop rap instrumentals that just you've heard done by other bands a million times better. The vocals are uninspired and every song just ends up sounding the same. Plus like Selena Gomez and Cardi B do not care. You can hear it in their voice. This must have been a sweet paycheck for them. I wanted so much more from a K-pop band that had like the level of success that they did early on, and they did not deliver at all. Speaking of not delivering, I don't know if these guys have ever delivered in my mind. That's 30 Seconds to Mars with It's the End of the World, but It's a Beautiful Day. Like that Louis Capaldi album, the title tells you everything you need to know. These guys are super self-important. They think they're really good at what they do, and they're not. Every boring, overplayed, overused trope of pop rock is here. The first song, Stuck, is like the prime example of it, where by the end of it, you just got Jared Leto like scatting over the chorus. And then from there on out, there's nothing that leaves an impact. I mean, it's in one ear, it's out the other. It's 10 songs that are just super forgettable. I don't know why Jared Leto has a cult, but I guess it's good that they exist because they can, continue to listen to his music. Then at 11, how about Kim Petras with the Slut Pop EP she dropped back in 2021? Yeah, like the slut thing, like the, being super sexual, that's Kim Petras' music. I get that. But it's so dumbed down. It's so repetitive and it's so uninteresting the way she goes about it here. You can't tell me she spent more than a couple hours writing these songs. And by writing them, I mean copying and pasting over and over and over the same lyrics. She had a lot of promise earlier in her career too, and she's done a really good job at squandering that. All right, the bottom 10 starts with Dream, my favorite Minecraft YouTuber, with his 2023 EP, To Whoever Wants to Hear. Nobody wants to hear. You're a Minecraft YouTuber. You're not a musician. I do not like this trend of YouTubers starting to make music. Most of it sucks, and this is the perfect example of why. Dream cannot sing. His voice is as flat as a year-old bottle of Dr. Pepper. And I'd still rather pour that in my ears than have to hear Dream's voice again. Pair it with a bunch of really lame-o pop rock instrumentals. There is no reason for this to exist. There's no reason that Dream needs to be famous. And we just need to stop it with these YouTubers making music. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Another thing that needed to stop, and kind of has since this album came out, is GFOTY and her brand of janky, unfinished, awful hyperpop on her 2021 album, Femdorm. Femdorm? I think I'm saying that right. GFOTY's music has always been purposefully unfinished, which means I guess it's supposed to be purposefully bad. Things can be cacophonous and have a lot going on and still be really interesting, but these songs are not. They're poorly constructed, they're really clunky, and when GFOTY half sings, half talks over the songs, they don't work. And the weirder thing about Femdorm is when she tries to do a song like Kook Song that's more of a conventional top 40 song, she's bad at making the bad pop music. So she's definitely not good at making good pop music. It's a mess. It's one of the messier listens on this list. It's something that I guess has told GFOTY you need to take a step back because I haven't heard from her since this album came out. At number 8, we're going with Drake and his 2021 record, Certified Lover Boy. Drake had several stinkers before this. I don't think Views or Scorpion are really that good top to bottom, but they always had that big hit single that you just couldn't get out of your head. That was just a really great radio hit. That's not the case on Certified Lover Boy. It's all filler, no killer. The opening track is 5 minutes long, which no Drake song needs to be that long, and the rest of the album is over an hour. No Drake album should be this long. It's just a tired effort that simply exists because Drake needs to continue to release more music. But it did give us the Certified Lover Boy, Certified Pedophile line from Kendrick Lamar on Not Like Us, so I guess it's got that going for it. Number 7, DaBaby, called the Fireman EP. Maybe it's named because DaBaby thought the lyrics and the beats were so fire that you'd have to call the fireman to come and, water everything down. But no, everything's already watered down. These beats are trash. This album is 6 minutes long, and it is 6 minutes too long. DaBaby's never been a poet laureate either, but we are stooping to an impressively low level here. I really don't think he spent more than $50 on this EP at all, and I shouldn't spend more than 30 seconds talking about it. Number 6, that's Katy Perry with her 2024 record, 143. Those numbers have to have some meaning to Katy Perry. But in this case, it just makes me think that an AI-generated formula just spat them out and said, this would be a really good album title. Because all of the songs within here are as robotic and as lifeless as Katy Perry has ever been. She's been on a downward spiral ever since Prism came out in like 2013. And 143 has to be the absolute bottom of the barrel of what she's capable of doing. Her and Dr. Luke, who it's really questionable she's still working with him at this point, they've cooked up some of the most bland, royalty-free sounding synth pop songs you will ever hear. It's not good stuff to sing over, and what Katy Perry adds is nothing. There is nothing of substance across this entire thing. When she's trying to be sexy, she's incredibly unsexy. When she's trying to celebrate women, it comes across as fake and forced. She brings all the features down to her level too, like 21 Savage, what the hell are you doing? Doechie's supposed to be a fun rapper, and she sounds like she has a gun pointed at her head when she's doing her bars on I'm his, he's mine. It's such an embarrassment. It is such a unbelievable low point for an artist like Katy Perry. Then at number 5, it's Camila Cabello with her 2024 album CXOXO. I want to appreciate artists who branch out, who try to do something outside of what they normally do. I think that's generally a good thing, but you have to have some level of understanding and care for any new direction that you go in. Camila and her producers do not. Hyperpop and synthpop is simply a mask. It fundamentally doesn't understand what makes the genre good, and instead it makes this awful Frankenstein monster of really aggressive synth pop instrumentals mixed with generic pop tropes that don't sound good normally, and they definitely don't sound good when mixed here. Throw in a ton of auto-tune and Camila Cabello just kind of floundering lyrically over most of these songs. It's just not good. It's a lane that she did not need to go down, and if she goes down it again, it deserves a lot more love than what she gave it here. Plus, there's a random-ass Drake song in the middle of this record. I'm dead serious. Look at the track listing. Camila's not on that song. It's just Drake. Why? Even worse than that, though, at number 4, how about Green Day and their 2020 album, Father of All? This is bad. This is really bad. This is a new level of bad for Green Day. Most of their music since American Idiot has been bad, but not like this. I don't remember Revolution Radio or Uno Dos Tre having the obnoxious rollout that Father of All did. Them proclaiming they don't need Swedish songwriters, they don't need pop trap beats. It's just like, yeah, man, we're so much better than that. Listen to this super generic, lazy-ass set of pop rock songs that we made instead. Billy Joe is singing like he's a 20-year-old when he's not. He's almost 50 when he wrote this. It's creepy, it's lame, it's the kind of music you're gonna hear at minor league baseball stadiums, probably played next to top 40 hits that were written by the Swedish songwriters that Green Day thought they were better than. And trust me, they're not. Number 3, I told you these guys would pop up again. That's AJR with OK Orchestra from 2021. What makes this AJR album worse in my mind than the Maybe Man is it's one thing for a bunch of man-children to infantilize things like paying your taxes or feeling depressed. It's another to do it with the backdrop of the pandemic behind them. And of course, these guys don't understand what it means to be an adult, nor do they care to, but their lyrics about isolation and their containment when they couldn't go out are just so juvenile and immature and just cringeworthy. This is one of the worst written pop albums I think I've ever heard. And much like all their other stuff, every song's way too busy. A lot of the time they tell you exactly what instrument's coming up next, like you're too stupid to understand what drums or a metronome are. It's loud, it's not funny, it's not fun, it's a terrible album top to bottom. If you're my age and you relate to this stuff, do not interact with me, please. Okay, speaking of do not interact, number 2, Måneskin with Rush. Oh, good lord. How do these guys win Eurovision? That's what I really want to know. Most of the artists on this list fail because they don't fundamentally understand what makes their genres good, the ones that they play in. And Måneskin are about as bad at that as anybody on this list. That's why they rank so high. They clearly want to be accepted. They want to be cool. They want to be hip. And the way they go about that is by acting out all of these fake ass fantasies about being a rock star, about being cool, that are not remotely cool. They're not cool when your instrumentals are about as boilerplate and boring as any rock release this decade has been. It's not cool when your lead singer, no matter what language he's singing in, sounds like utter shit. The sandpaper effect he has going on with his throat, I don't get the appeal. It's just raggedy and awful on the ears. And that's whether he's singing in English or Italian. Like, it's impressive. This is an Italian rock band, and they sound awful singing in Italian. And it's 17 songs long. It's 50 plus minutes of this dreck. It's a true beatdown. It is a gauntlet trying to make it through this thing without just immediately turning it off. It truly makes me question the musical stylings of Europe and why we continue to allow them to make music. I know that's a pretty broad statement, but Måneskin have warranted it. And then number one, another guy I told you was going to pop up again. How about some more Machine Gun Kelly? And there's two albums that I could have gone with here, but it's his 2022 album, Mainstream Sellout, that really takes the cake as what I think is the worst album of the decade so far. He made a really bad pop punk album with Travis Barker in 2020, and everyone told him it was bad. So what did he do like any good artist did? He doubled down on everything that made it awful. The whininess, the awful singing, the cringy lyrics, they're all here like they were on the first one. But hearing him bitch and moan about how nobody wanted me to do this, nobody likes me, it doesn't work when the music you're singing over isn't good. There is nothing I've heard this decade that's more grating than the way MGK sings. It's like he's scribbling in a notebook and then he just reads off in a gravelly voice all his lyrics. At times, it's really hard to call it singing. And the sentiments of, oh God, songs like Emo Girl or A, with all the awful features they've got on them, it's just way too much. He's trying so hard to fit into the genre, and it is a square peg trying to go into a circular hole. It does not work. I do not recommend it. I think it's the worst album of the decade so far. Okay, so there we go. I'm done with the bad. Did the worst songs yesterday. Did the worst albums here today. We're done with the shit. We're done with the bad. We'll get to the good tomorrow. I cannot wait to talk about honorable mentions, EPs, top 100 songs, top 100 albums, talk about things that I like and love and would recommend to everybody. Cannot wait for that. So until then, thank you for watching. Check out my Substack. You can get a link to all of these songs down in the description below. I don't know why you would go listen to them after listening to me talk about them, but they are there if you want it. I will see you in the next video.